Everybody, in this video 4 of our Guess My Number series, the last video, we are going to, we have our main functionality done. We're going to look at our to-do list that we made from video 1, and we are going to go point by point and get this done. So, let's look at our features, see what we have implemented, see what we need to have implemented. Can we guess a number between 1 and 100, or between difficulty? Yeah, we did that. Alright. Do we have usernames? We do. We are able to enter a username. Do we have a leaderboard? Not yet. This is dependent on other features. Do we have play again? Not yet. So let's do play again. So ideally, if we hit play again, we kind of want to restart all this code, right? We want to restart all this code. So what's a good way of doing this? Well, you'll notice that when we wanted to restart code, right, when we wanted to guess another number after our first number was wrong, we put it in a while loop, right? We said, hey, listen, we have this game continue condition, and when we don't guess another number, we redo it. So one way to do this is to put the whole thing in a while loop, right? And we can have this variable here that says, well, game continue is a pretty good variable name. Why don't we call it overall game continue, right? I mean, that's what I would have named this variable, but we're going to call it overall game continue because it's the overall game. And we're going to set this equal to true. And we're going to say while this variable, and again, to indicate that some code is part of another code, we need to kind of indent this all. So we highlight it all and press the tab key in Sublime. So we kind of indent it all. So now this all belongs to the overall game continue. And now, like our looping here, we need to figure out a way that we can stop the loop. And so how do we stop the loop? Well, if the user doesn't want to play anymore, we stop the loop, right? So after this is all done, once we get to this point right here, this means we're past the while loop. So that means we're out of the while loop. The user has guessed everything. So this is kind of the end of the guessing. And we can add some numbers here. This add some comments rather. This is the start of the guessing. Right, comments help us segment, get an idea of what our code's doing. So end of the guessing. So this section we're eventually gonna have to do it will be like the leaderboard stuff. And we need to say, okay, this will be the play again section. And what this is gonna say is it's gonna say, right, play again prompt. This is gonna be variable. And again, if we want to ask the user to do something, we need to ask them through input. So we're gonna say, do you wish to play again? And we need to tell them what to input. So it'll be yes or no. I made that lowercase so it's not tricky. So yes or no. So if so we'll have this variable here. It says if play again prompt, and we only care if they say no, right? If they say no, then we want to end it. Or actually, if they say no, or how about make it a little easier for the user? If they don't say yes, then we want to end it. So if the play again prompt is not equal to yes, then, and we can get rid of these parentheses because they're not needed. Parentheses help us clarify some logic, but and make it easier to see. But we're pretty good. So then we're going to say overall game continue is going to be equal to false. So we're going to test this out, and a good way to test this out, right? So we can go through the overall game, but one thing I kind of noticed right here off the bat is notice that this is the overall game, right? And we need to consider that when we put something in the while loop, every time this while loop executes, we're going to kind of override these variables, right? Because we're resetting them. So we have to kind of think, right, variables up here, so let's make a comment. Variables here, stay the same value unless changed. But variables here get reset every loop, every game loop. So we have to keep that in mind. So do we want our leaderboard to be consistent across all instances of our game, meaning that every time we play a game we have a leaderboard? Absolutely. So we'll put this up here. Do we want the history of users? Absolutely. We want all the users. Sorry, I think this is wait, that's not a variable. It should be history of guesses, not users. History of guesses. No, history guesses is relevant to this game instance, as is the number of guesses, and as is the difficulty and the username. So we're just gonna have a leaderboard up here. Okay, let's try this out. Right, we implemented a feature. Let's test it out. What's my username? Mike. Easy. 50. Too high. 30. Too low. 40. Too high. 35. Too high. 33. 32. 31. I got it. Do I want to play again? Absolutely, yes. And I can do it again. And to quit, and a cool trick is that to quit a Python program, hit the Control-D key on Mac, and on Windows, I forget what it is. It might also be Control-D, and that kind of ends the prompt right there. And I could do like clear to clear the screen, right? We have a bunch of stuff right here, so we can hit clear to clear the terminal. And likewise, to like make it look nice, we're at some spaces right there. Awesome. All right, so we have play again. Maybe I'll like do like that to kind of keep track of. All right, well, okay. So what do we need done next? We need leaderboard, and we need this stuff. So I'm just gonna put this down here because this is stuff that we still have to implement. Number of guesses seems like the easiest thing that I can think of to implement next. So right now, right, when we start our game, we have 0 guesses, right? Like, you didn't guess anything. So when you make one guess, well, you increment the variable, right? So we could say number of guesses, and we're going to assign it the value of the current number of guesses plus 1, right? So we take a current number of guesses, we increment it by 1 for every guess, right? So if you guess it right, guess it wrong, your number of guesses is going up. So so we got that done. That was easy, right? And, similarly, let's take care of the history of guesses, not the history of users like I named it earlier. So history of guesses. So whenever you make a guess, all we have to do is put it in this list. Now we talked about lists, but we didn't really mention that given a list, how do we add a value to it? Well, I could just tell you right here. So to add a value to a list, we do history of guesses dot append. And when you append something to a list, it just means add. Append, add. You can think of it like that. So we're going to add to our list the user guess. Awesome. So we have our history of guesses, we have our number of guesses, and awesome. So it's kind of cool to keep track of these statistics. But what's the point of data tracking if we can't report it? So how about at the end of our game, we kind of like leaderboard stuff and reporting stuff. All right, so we have leaderboard and reporting stuff. Now, why don't we just say print? Okay, your number of guesses was. And remember that we can concatenate strings together or put them together. So we take this string. So we're going to take the number of guesses, and we're going to put it into a string. Or we're going to convert it to a string because we only can we can print out like string, right? If we're concatenating a string, we should be putting it together with another string. So your number of guesses was, and we're just going to make this like a string of that. And your history of guesses was, print your history of guesses was, and I think, okay, so we can here, I'm going to show you. So we'll print out the string, but we can also print out our list. But we take this list right here, history of guesses, we're going to print out the list. But we're not going to concatenate it because you can't put together string and list. So we're going to put the history of guesses separately. Awesome. All right. As with any feature we implement, let's test it out. What's the username? Mike. Easy. What's my guess? 50. My guess is too low. 70. Too low. 80. Too high. 76. 75. 74. 73. My guess, and then, right, so there we go, 7 guesses. And here's the history of my guesses. Do I want to play again? No. And it ends. Awesome. So we have all these features, and let's make a leaderboard, right? Let's make a leaderboard, and we can say, well, at the end of the game, you have your guesses. What is your leaderboard? Now, when we have a leaderboard, what are we gonna make our leaderboard by? We'll make it by the number of guesses, right? So like the really good people at this game, they have the fewest number of guesses. So the leaderboard, right? Remember I talked about a dictionary in a previous video. What we say is that when we finish our game, we could say the leaderboard, and the key value will be the username, right? So the username will be our key, and the value will just be the number of guesses. And now we can print out our leaderboard. So we'll say like print current leaderboard, and that'll be leaderboard. Awesome. So, and again, we're printing out the dictionary. We're not going to concatenate it with the string. So, let's see if that works. All right, Mike, easy. This is tough to test, right? I have a lot of pressure. I have to kind of figure out what the number is every time. 84. Oh, that's interesting. The leaderboard of username is equal to 6, but username is blank. Did I enter username? I entered a username. That is weird. Wait. Let me try something. Let me surround it in quotes. I think I might have to surround it in quotes. Easy, what is your guess? 50, 80, 70, 73, 75, 76. No, that didn't do it. That's kind of weird. Why is that? Why is that being tricky? Leaderboard of username. I think. Trying to figure why this is giving me problems. So at this point, let me see after I prompt the user whether I have a valid username. Let me see here. So we're gonna do some debugging here, figure this out. What's my username? Mike. Easy. Wait. Oh, so I print here and I don't have anything. That's so weird. Let me try putting these statements outside the for loop. So out of the function here. I think this might have something to do with scoping. So I plan to explain that in another video, but let's see here and let's see if that fixes the issue. So we go right here. What's your username? Mike. Easy. Oh, there you go. Okay. So I plan to talk about scoping in a different video, and I guess I became suspect to it. But the issue is that you have this variable right here, and username, but whenever you have code associated inside of a function or a loop, it has to be, I guess it just didn't know that this username was the same one referred to up here. So whenever you have a function like this, make sure that and I fell suspect to this, and this is why we debug and figure it out. This function's not that good because, again, we'll talk about classes in a future video, but this username, this function when it defines it, it doesn't know up here that's talking about the same username. So now we can delete that function because unfortunately it didn't do much, and we could do more to kind of like make more functions in our code. But at this point now it'll work. We have our username, we printed it out, and that'll be our leaderboard. Now to sort the leaderboard, we need to figure out, right? So like we ideally want like the keys at the top, so we want the highest scores at the top. So to do that, I'm going to kind of give you the code right here, and we're going to talk about sorting in another video. But what you do is you kind of use I'll just write out the code, and that'll kind of be enough. So we kind of say we're going to print out this following expression, sorted of let's see, where are we at? So we took leaderboard, and I'll explain this in a future video, but I'm just going to show you how this all works now. Leaderboard.items, we need a key, and that's going to be operator.itemgetter of 1. It's a lot of like, whoa, what the heck is going on? And then we have to import operator. But this is just to show you how it works. Each video, each series, each project is going to be some like unknown code. And this is kind of it, but what it's doing is it's gonna take the leaderboard, it's gonna sort it. That's why you have the sorted keyword. It's gonna take every item in the leaderboard. Then we're gonna have this key, which is gonna be our item getter. So we have a key and a value, right? So the item getter on a dictionary, and we have 1, means that we're gonna take the we're gonna take the value, and 1 and 0. If we had 0 here, that'd be the name itself, and that'll return the sorted version of the leaderboard. Again, we'll cover this code or the sorting in a future video, but just to give you a flavor of it, and it really don't, I mean, every project that we do is going to be tiny details that might be a little confusing, but I assure you by the end of this whole series, we'll cover everything. All right, guys, thanks so much.